What is up, AKAPADers? Welcome to the 31 Days of Dread. This is day 16, and we're talking Club Dread on the 31 Days of Dread. I needed a palate cleanser, and I had to watch a couple comedies, and I've been wanting to do a comedy block since the beginning of this year. I wanted to do more horror comedies every single other year, 2017, 2018, and I found a great one, and I went back to one of my favorites. This is one of my favorites. The great one is Transylvania 5000, starring Jeff Goldblum. That's tomorrow's episode, but we're going to hit the intro and talk about Club Dread. Welcome back, and thank you for joining me. I'm Peter A. DeLuca, aka Pad. This is the 31 Days of Dread, a part of AKAPAD's Audio Audacity podcast, available on just about every single network that a podcast could be available on. And if you're listening to this, and if you're new, hey, welcome to the AKAPAD Army. We're rocking and rolling, and I'm your ghost. No, I'm not your ghost. I'm your host. I'm your ghost host. I don't know what I'm saying here, but look, I'm your guiding hand to all things pop culture. And for this month, we're focused on horror. So much horror that your boy over here, needed a palate cleanser. And by that, I mean it is grinding watching this much horror this quickly. Even though this year I had a lead and I had like the first 10 episodes already figured out, but I do like the day-to-day recording. I like the continuity and the repetition. I think it makes me better. It's just more practice, and it just helps me weave like a 31 episode, a month-long narrative when it comes to the 31 Days of Dread, because a lot of this, even for me, is exploration. I have found so many good movies. I have found so many movies that I thought that would not be good, just flat out surprises. There's a lot of movies that disappointed me, and actually that's going to be day 18. This is day 16. Day 17 is going to be Transylvania 5000, another comedy starring Jeff Goldblum and Ed Begley Jr., who is they're both phenomenal in that movie. And then it's going to go to two Rob Zombie movies, and one of them is going to be, you ready for this? 3 from Hell. I had to watch that movie 3 times because I still can't figure any of it out. Then we'll get into, you'll have to wait for that one. And then it's going to be Lords of Salem, and then it's Mandy, it's Beyond the Black Rainbow. We're doing some director blocks. So, we will continue with the hardcore horror, but it's going to be a little bit of a slowdown the next 2 days, the next 2 episodes, only because watching this much horror messes with you, and I needed a break. So, Club Dread. Oh my God. How much do I love this movie? I put this movie above Super Troopers, and I put this movie above Beer Fest. Now, if you're not familiar with the comedy troupe, Jay Chandler Cruz, he has such a weird last name. I'm going to look it up for you real quick. Jay Chandrasekhar, I can never pronounce it. He's a 6-foot-tall Indian guy from Chicago. He helped form what is called the Broken Lizard Comedy Troupe. It came from college, and some of this might be like the last great American comedy troupe to emerge into the lexicon. I'm aware of anyone modern day that has done that. This used to be a common thing, especially out of Chicago. People are somewhat forgetting and somewhat fading that Chicago at one time was a center of American comedy. And, comedy right now is just under siege, and people are like, no, things like Big Mouth exist. Patton Oswalt sent that tweet out, and it's like, no, there's no agenda against comedies, and all this is a part of the Joker backlash, where everyone's just trying to get clickbait and views and retweets off of a Joker movie, yours included. Because Todd Phillips, who directed Joker, said, look, I just can't make comedies anymore. And Patton Oswalt is like, Big Mouth. If you watch the new season of Big Mouth on Netflix, I could get maybe 10 minutes into the first episode of season 3 because it turned that corner. It went SJW, and it's just not as funny anymore. And I just don't want to give it time. Also, I'm on the verge of canceling and getting rid of my Netflix subscription. I am so disappointed with this year's horror rollout. It befuddles me. It literally befuddles me that there is nothing good. And for the last 2 years, 2017 and 2018, Netflix had some fantastic horror movies that rolled out in October. It makes me sound like a conspiracy nutcase, but a lot of their content that Netflix seems to be releasing this month are kind of around politics or politically driven. And I just don't like it. I don't want to be preached to. I really don't. I just want to watch entertaining things that could have a overarching progressive point of view, such as one of these movies I'm watching right now. I'm watching Chud. Ever watched Chud? CHUD? Cannibalistic Humanoid Underworld Dweller. Not the website, not Chud.com. With the early days of the internet. I'm babbling so much here. Chud is a crazy progressive movie, and I don't know why that's not just like held up on a super high standard by today's standards. But anyway, so comedy's under siege. We're not seeing this growth. Broken Lizards and what these guys have done with their movies. Slam and Salmon is also a great one. These guys have been a part of a great movie. Like good movies. Puddle Cruising, 1997, self-financed, maybe the last underground great American independent comedy to come out of the 90s, because everyone kind of references like Clerks and films like that. But this movie just holds something special in my heart because I love the break. It's part murder mystery, it's part slasher film, it's part comedy, it's part commentary, and it's just part zaniness. And like those are the combinations that make Caddyshack, Ghostbusters, Stripes, Trading Places. That's what makes those movies what they are. And I will even say modern day Pineapple Express, Other Guys, Tropic Thunder. They're my comedies. And this movie fits within them because it has kind of like this built-in mythology with Bill Paxton's character. He plays Coconut Pete, and he just runs a resort. He's a Jimmy Buffett. And at the beginning of the movie, everyone shows up to the resort to party their butts off and have a lot of sex. Right? How do you not love that premise? And then people start dying, and these people who are dying are connected through coded messages, left from the killer, that they're connected to Coconut Pete, possibly one of Coconut Pete's concerts. So here we go. It is murder or on the Orient Express. Everyone's, it's Clue. Everyone's pointing fingers at one another, trying to dissect who's safe and who's not. And we have a solid movie on that. And then the killer is just, it's just fun. It's just fun when look, the blood looks legit. This movie has like some gore to it, but it's just, you don't take it so seriously because of the context. And then it becomes a little bit more of a horror movie by the end. And most comedies break in the third act, meaning the premise of the comedy and the best of the comedy usually happens in the first two acts. The third act is the resolution, and we're drifted away from the hook. This is very clear in nearly every single comedy, even Ghostbusters. The ones I respect are the ones that stay true to it. I even would argue that Animal House breaks, to resolve an issue by the third act. But some comedies do stay true all the way to the very end. I would say Tropic Thunder very much is close to that, but this is why even like Wedding Crashers is a tough movie to watch, because it's funny, but they're crashing weddings for literally one montage in the early minutes of the movie, and it's a different movie at that time, even though they're pretending to be these other guys. But the movie's called Wedding Crashers, not Pretenders, and the premise of the movie just goes away. But the Broken Lizard troupe, when these guys get together, even within Puddle Cruising, even within Beer Fest, even within Super Troopers. I haven't seen Super Troopers 2 yet, but the through line is there. The concept is there throughout the entire movie, and if you're into comedy, if you're into horror, for the 31 Days of Dread, Club Dread is literally one of the best horror comedies I can recommend. And people are like, oh, Young Frankenstein, because everyone in Philly right now went to go see Young Frankenstein, and I don't know why. I in no way would want to see Young Frankenstein on stage. I will see other things on stage, but not that. I just don't believe it belongs there. It doesn't even interest me. They're like, Pete, you're such a curmudgeon. Maybe I am, but do yourself a favor. Check out this movie. It has some great bits. There's a bit where everyone's at a campfire, and Coconut Pete, Bill Paxton, from Aliens and Terminator, and Big Love. Big Love might have been the last HBO series I really loved, up until the last season, that just like Game of Thrones fell off. And they're at a campfire, and he's doing songs, and this girl goes, ha ha ha, and she's laughing. That's a very poor laugh. And and she goes, do Margaritaville. Bill Paxton has this existential meltdown moment where it shouldn't be Margaritaville. It should be Pina Coladaburg, because he did Pina Coladaburg 3 years before Margaritaville, and he was ripped off. And he has this. It's such a great moment, such a great scene, and I literally pee myself every time I watch it. He has handlers that work with him when they're in their club, the club for the island, and they drop these hints on. They'll pick up information from some of the girls, and they were like, "Oh yeah, I was at a Coconut Pete concert at such and such, and this location," and then they report it back to Bill Paxton, and then he accidentally bumps into the girl and says, "Hey, weren't you at my Cincinnati show, row 4?" And it's just funny. It really is. I love that type of humor. And this is a good commentary on some of the deconstruction of the slasher movie, because in all they make no sense. Right? They really don't. And this movie does all the slasher movie tropes. Tropes meaning it's someone scorned by the protagonist or the main character, which for here, you can somewhat say is Coconut Pete up until he dies. Spoiler there. But we don't care about spoilers. And and there's he's a shadowy figure. He kills with a machete. He seems invincible. Okay, he seems one step ahead of everyone. This is what I mean about how much fun this movie is. And I'll say this, it's shot at night, and I'm always impressed by movies that are shot at night that look halfway decent. And also, I would say support the comedy troupe. Any movie that Broken Lizards is involved in, you should really just go totally in on what these guys have done. Just talking to everyone right now, I really should go out and see Super Troopers 2. And when I say go out and see, I mean go to my couch and put it on. But everyone, for the 31 Days of Dread, I love you. I do. Get some candy, get some fun. Let's create some things. And we're going to hit day 17 with an old comedy. We don't like old movies around here, do we? But let's get it done.